Street lights melting on the rainy road, your shadow walking close to mine. Cold night air around the city, but somehow everything felt warm tonight. One earbud in your ear, one earbud in mine. Have the song between us, like a secret only we could find. Sweet little laughter in the subway glow, your sleeve touching my hand so slow. No big words, no dramatic scene, just your smile shining softly beside me. Dreamy neon floating in puddles, taxi lights passing quietly. The whole city looked blurry, like a romance film after midnight. And suddenly I wish this walk would never end. One ear for you, one ear for me. Two lonely hearts breathing in the same melody. Tokyo nights and Seoul street rain, tiny cafés beside the train, late convenience store coffee steam. Everything felt softer than a dream. Your eyes reflected city lights like stars hidden in midnight skies. Even silence sounded beautiful when I walked beside you tonight. Sweet little moments disappear fast, but somehow music makes them last. So if tomorrow changes everything, let this song remember us softly. One ear for you, one ear for me. Half of the melody still sounded complete. And maybe love is simply this, a quiet song, a slow night walk, and someone staying close enough to hear it with you. The station clock was blinking midnight blue, cold air drifting through the platform lights. You held warm coffee with both hands and smiled like we still had more time tonight. The last train warning echoed softly, but neither of us moved at all. People rushed past like waves around us, while our little world stayed small. Sweet city silence after midnight, neon reflections on the rails. Your sleepy eyes looked brighter somehow under the pale station haze. We talked about nothing important, tiny stories and passing dreams, but somehow every single sentence felt sweeter than it should have seemed. One slow step beside you felt better than getting home, so we missed another train again, just to stay together a little longer. Tokyo windows glowing quietly, Seoul night buses fading away, convenience store desserts and warm milk tea, turning ordinary nights into memories. Dreamy laughter in the cold air, a scarf brushing softly against me. The whole city became blurry like a beautiful unfinished movie scene. If tomorrow becomes distant, if someday we walk separate roads, I think I'll still remember this platform and the warmth beside me in the cold. Station lights slowly dimmed, the final train already gone, but somehow missing it with you felt like the right place to belong. Tiny raindrops started falling right above the evening street. Neon signs became reflections dancing underneath our feet. You laughed and pulled your jacket closer while the cold wind brushed your hair. And somehow in that blurry weather, the whole world felt softer there. Rain on your white sneakers, small splashes in the city light. Your hand slowly finding mine, like it belonged there all this time. Cars rolled slowly through the puddles. Street cafes closed one by one, but we kept walking without reason, like we hoped the night would never be done. Sweet convenience store umbrella barely covering both of us, shoulders touching every few seconds, turning silence into love. Tokyo rain and Seoul reflections, subway lights through foggy glass. Every passing moment felt gentle, like a beautiful dream we couldn't hold fast. Your eyes looked brighter in the rainfall, warm against the silver sky. And even strangers passing by seemed softer somehow tonight. Rain on your white sneakers, tiny hearts inside the storm. Cold weather all around us, but standing beside you felt warm. If this night disappears tomorrow, if these streets forget our names, I think the rain will still remember two people smiling through the haze. One small umbrella, one slow city walk, one unfinished love song, floating quietly through the dark. The city finally quieted down after another crowded night. Streetlights humming softly above us, painting silver on the sidewalk lines. You held a warm paper cup, steam floating into the cold air slowly. And somehow that tiny moment felt more expensive than luxury. 2 cups of convenience store coffee, plastic chairs under neon signs. Nothing special to anyone else, but somehow perfect tonight. Cars passed like distant waves, late buses disappearing in blue light. The whole neighborhood looked sleepy, like the world forgot every heavy thought, because your small, sleepy laughter made the cold night feel soft. Tokyo alleys after midnight, Seoul-sized streets glowing faintly, vending machine lights reflecting quietly on puddles after evening rain. No fancy restaurant reservations, no dramatic rooftop view, just cheap coffee and your voice turning ordinary nights beautiful. Sweet silence stayed between us, comfortable like an old melody. Even saying nothing together felt strangely complete to me. Two cups slowly getting colder while the sky turned deeper blue. And somewhere between those quiet hours, I think I started falling for you. If love has a real shape, maybe it looks something like this. A sleepy city, warm coffee, and someone staying beside you after midnight. The red light stayed longer than expected, so we stopped in the middle of the city glow. Cold wind moving through the buildings, soft music leaking from your earphones slow. People crossed around us quickly, busy hearts heading somewhere else. But for a tiny quiet moment, it felt like we belonged to ourselves. Slow dancing at the crosswalk while taxis painted gold across the rain. Your eyes shining under neon lights like a beautiful dream I couldn't explain. The countdown numbers flickered softly, but neither of us wanted to move. Your shoulder leaning into mine, turning silence into something true. Tokyo midnight traffic humming, so reflections after rain. Street signs glowing blurry colors, like stars floating through the city haze. Sweet laughter in the cold air, warm breath becoming little clouds. Even surrounded by strangers, you somehow made the world feel calm. No music loud enough for dancing, no fancy place to hold you close. Just this tiny glowing crosswalk and emotions nobody else would notice. The signal finally turned green, but we walked slower than before, like we secretly hoped the night would keep opening one more door. Slow dancing at the crosswalk, half asleep beneath electric skies. If this moment disappears tomorrow, please stay somewhere inside my mind. Because maybe love arrives quietly, without fireworks or dramatic scenes. Sometimes it's just two people smiling under blurry city lights at 2 a.m. sleeping street, soft lights flickering on your face. Outside the dark city drifted slowly, like a dream nobody wanted to wake. You lean quietly against my shoulder, half asleep after the longest day. And every small passing reflection made me wish time would stay. Your reflection in the train window looks softer than the midnight sky. Neon colors floating around you, like stars passing gently by. No words between us anymore, just warm silence and tired smiles. The sound of rails beneath the city, carrying us through endless night. Tokyo stations passing quietly, Seoul apartments glowing faintly, people disappearing at each stop, leaving only us and the melody. Your fingers brushed against my sleeve, like a tiny accidental confession. And suddenly the ordinary subway ride felt like the ending scene of a romance film. Dreamy lights blurred through the glass, rain stains glowing silver blue. Everything outside kept moving, but somehow my heart stayed next to you. The train announcement echoed softly, almost pulling us back to reality. But your sleepy eyes closing slowly made the whole world feel distant to me. Your reflection in the train window, still shining gently in my mind. And maybe years from now, this is the night I'll still rewind. Because love sometimes arrives quietly, not loudly enough for crowds to see. Just two tired hearts riding home together, sharing music after midnight peacefully. Cherry blossoms falling slowly onto the empty cafe street, pink petals dancing through the night wind, landing softly near our feet. You laugh while holding cherry soda, tiny bubbles glowing under neon light. And somehow the quiet little moment felt sweeter than the whole city tonight. Midnight talks beneath the blossoms, dreams floating gently through the air. Your sleepy voice sounded softer than every love song everywhere. Street lamps painted silver colors across the quiet riverside road, while passing bicycles disappear slowly into the blue midnight glow. Tokyo spring nights after closing, Seoul cafe windows talked about future places, small hopes hidden in your heart. And every unfinished sentence made me wanna stay exactly where we were. Sweet soda on your lips, cherry petals in your hair. The whole world became beautiful just because you were there. No expensive lights or fireworks, no perfect movie ending scene. Just two people sharing midnight inside a soft pink dream. Drifting slowly as the last train crossed the bridge. And somewhere between your laughter and the quiet city breeze, I realized maybe happiness is smaller than people think. Sometimes it's only midnight conversations and someone you never want to leave. Cold winter wind across the avenue, snowflakes melting under neon signs. You pulled your scarf around us slowly, and suddenly your heartbeat felt close to mine. Tiny breaths turning into white clouds while the city shimmered silver blue. Every passing light looks softer just because I walk beside you. We shared the same scarf tonight, one small warmth against the cold. Your shoulder pressed against my jacket like a feeling I wanted to hold. Buses fading through the snowfall, street cafés glowing quietly. The whole city moved in slow motion like a dream made only for you and me. Your fingers hiding in my pocket, soft laughter underneath the moon. And somehow every ordinary second felt like it disappeared too soon. Tokyo winters after midnight, so rooftops covered white, footsteps echoing through quiet alleys under soft electric light. No perfect words between us, no dramatic promises to keep, just warm silence wrapped around us as the sleepy city drifted deep. You looked up at the falling snow, eyes shining brighter than downtown lights. And maybe that tiny frozen moment was the most beautiful part of the night. We shared the same scarf tonight, while snow kept covering the road. Two lonely hearts walking slowly, trying not to let each other go. If tomorrow changes everything, if seasons pull us far away, I hope winter remembers us softly, walking together through the city haze. the river after rain. Your laughter echoed through the alleyways like music drifting through the train. Tiny camera in your cold hands, capturing moments randomly. Blurred neon signs and sleepy smiles turning into little memories. Polaroid pictures in Osaka, frozen pieces of midnight light. Your face glowing beside the river like a dream alive tonight. Street food smoke above the sidewalks, warm takoyaki in winter air. Tourists disappearing through the crowds, but somehow it felt like only we were there. You pulled me closer for the picture while the timer blinked soft red, and that tiny awkward silence stayed spinning gently in my head. Tokyo trains and Seoul reflections, but tonight belonged to Osaka skies. Bright signs dancing on wet pavement like stars falling into your eyes. Came out slightly blurry, colors melting into blue and gold. But maybe beautiful memories were never meant to be perfectly told. Sweet little moments disappearing as quickly as the final train. Still your hand stayed warm beside me, walking slowly through the rain. Polaroid pictures in Osaka, stuffed inside your oversized coat. Tiny proof that love existed in the middle of the glowing night. And years from now, when seasons change, when cities fade into old dreams, I hope those blurry photographs still remember what we couldn't explain. The harbor lights were fading slowly as the night turned silver blue. Cold sea wind around the pier, but somehow everything felt warm with you. Fishing boats rocking quietly under sleepy dawn-colored skies. Your head resting on my shoulder while the city closed its tired eyes. Until the morning ferry arrives, let's stay inside this little night. Just music, ocean, air, and us floating softly towards sunrise. The cafe near the harbor closed early, so we sat beside the vending machines, sharing sweet canned coffee slowly, like characters inside a dream. Tokyo Bay and booze and mornings, different cities, same lonely glow. Travelers carrying heavy suitcases while we moved gently and slow. You played our favorite jazz playlist, one earbud for each of us again. And suddenly the quiet ocean sounded like a beautiful old refrain. Your sleepy smile in the dawnlight felt softer than the sea breeze air. Even silence became romantic simply because you were there. The first ferry horn echoed faintly. Birds began waking with the sky, but neither of us wanted to say goodbye to the night. Until the morning ferry arrives, let's pretend time moves slowly. No future worries, no distant endings, just this peaceful harbor memory. Oh, and someday when life gets louder, when crowded days pull us apart, I think I'll still hear ocean waves whenever this song starts. Because love sometimes looks like this, two tired hearts before sunrise, sharing music quietly together until the morning ferry arrives. Rain kept falling over downtown, tiny rivers running through the street. Neon signs melted into colors, dancing underneath our feet. You tilted the umbrella slowly, trying hard to cover both of us. And every little awkward movement somehow made me fall in love. Neon reflections on your umbrella, pink and blue across your eyes. The whole city looked half asleep under rainy midnight skies. Taxi lights sliding through puddles, soft jazz leaking from a bar nearby. Steam rising from late ramen shops as strangers drifted quietly by. Your wet hair touching your cheeks softly, cold fingers hiding in your sleeves. And somehow the ordinary weather turned into a beautiful memory. Tokyo rain outside, Shibuya, Seoul alleys glowing silver white. Everything became cinematic, walking beside you tonight. We missed 3 different crosswalk signals just because we walked too slow, like we secretly wanted the rainfall to never stop and let us go. Neon reflections on your umbrella, floating gently through the storm. Cold weather everywhere around us, but standing near you felt warm. And years from now I think I'll remember not the city or the rain, but the way our quiet laughter made the whole night glow again. The bookstore almost almost closed at midnight. Soft yellow lights above the shelves. Only a few sleepy customers remained, lost quietly inside their worlds. You wander slowly through the aisles, running fingers across old paperbacks, while jazz played softly from the speakers, like a memory floating through the dark. Late night bookstore date, between poetry and dusty dreams. Your smile hiding behind a novel felt warmer than it seemed. Rain tapped gently on the windows outside the empty city street, but inside everything felt peaceful, like time had fallen asleep. You showed me lines you underlined, tiny thoughts nobody else could see, and somehow every quiet sentence brought your heart closer to me. Tokyo bookstores after rainfall, Seoul midnight cafés nearby, street lights glowing through fogged windows, like stars against the sky. The clerks stack magazines, slowly preparing to end another day, but neither of us wanted to let the night fade away. You lean beside me near the poetry section, shoulders brushing accidentally, and even breathing in that silence started feeling romantic to me. Late night bookstore date, to tired hearts turning pages slow, searching for stories in the shelves while writing one without knowing so. If someday these streets disappear, if seasons carry us apart, I think I'll still remember the quiet warmth inside that bookstore. Dark. Summer air wrapped around the riverside, warm wind moving through your hair. Crowds gathered beneath glowing lanterns, but somehow it felt quiet there. Distant fireworks painted colors across the dark blue evening sky, reflections trembling on the water like tiny dreams floating by. Headphones, fireworks, and summer night, one soft melody between us, to your shoulder touching mine slowly, while the city disappeared from view. Street food, smoke, and sweet soda flavors, laughter drifting through the humid air. Children running near the bridge lights, while music circled gently everywhere. You close your eyes during the chorus as fireworks bloom silver and gold, and in the tiny glowing moment I wish the night would never grow old. somewhere and remember how your heartbeat felt beside me. The last train already disappeared, so we stayed beside the sea instead. Warm sand still holding traces of sunlight the daytime left behind. You placed your shoes beside mine near the quiet edge of the waves, and suddenly the whole world slowed down, like the ocean wanted us to stay. Our shoes beside the ocean, moonlight trembling on the tide, soft music leaking from your earphones while sleepy waves roll by. Summer wind moved through your hair softly, salt air drifting through the dark. Every tiny passing second left another mark inside my heart. Tokyo Bay after midnight, Busan shorelines glowing blue, distant ships like floating stars scattered across the view. You drew small circles in the sand, talking quietly about dreams, and somehow your unfinished sentences felt warmer than they seemed. No crowded city noise anymore, no traffic lights or subway sounds, only waves repeating slowly, like love songs without words now. Our shoes beside the ocean, two tired hearts resting still, the whole night wrapped around us like a quiet romantic film. The tide slowly reached our footprints and carried them softly away, and somehow that made the moment feel even more beautiful to me. Because maybe nothing lasts forever, not summer nights or glowing skies, but somewhere inside the ocean wind, this memory will survive. The intersections stay completely silent past 2 a.m. beneath the neon haze. Traffic lights changing colors slowly, like they were waiting for us to say something. Cold midnight wind across the avenue, your eyes reflecting emerald light, And suddenly the space between us felt smaller than the city tonight. Kiss me before the green light, before the moment disappears, before the trains start moving again and reality returns here. Brushed against my jacket, tiny sparks running through the dark. Every quiet second stretching longer, like fireworks inside my heart. Tokyo crossroads after midnight, Seoul towers glowing pale blue. The whole world looked distant somehow whenever I stood close to you. Except our breathing, no voices except passing rain. But somehow the silence between us said more than words could explain. You smiled like you already knew what I was too afraid to say, and every blinking traffic signal pulled my heartbeat farther away. Kiss me before the green light, before strangers fill these streets, before this tiny lonely intersection stops belonging only to you and me. Taxi headlights crossed around us, painting silver across your face, and for one suspended second, time completely lost its place. Then softly, you leaned a little closer, while the signal turned from red to green, and the whole city disappeared inside that unfinished dream. Between us kept tangling every few steps along the street. Old cheap earphones barely working, but somehow the music sounded sweet. Late buses disappearing slowly, rain stains glowing under signs. Your quiet voice beside the melody stayed playing softly in my mind. Your voice through cheap earphones felt warmer than expensive songs, like the whole city faded gently whenever you sang along. You talked about tiny memories, old cafés and childhood dreams, and somehow every little story felt more beautiful than it seemed. Tokyo nights outside convenience stores, Seoul alleys after rain, neon reflections across puddles, moving gently like a train. One earphone kept cutting out, so we leaned a little closer, shoulders brushing every few seconds, making the cold night softer. luxury cars or rooftop views, no perfect movie romance scene, just old music and your sleepy laughter, turning ordinary streets into dreams. Your voice through cheap earphones still echoes somewhere inside me, soft and blurry like midnight lights across an empty city. The playlist kept repeating slowly as dawn crept into the sky, but neither of us wanted to say goodbye tonight, because maybe love arrives quietly without dramatic signs above. Sometimes it's only hearing someone speak and realizing you never want the night to end. Record store smelled like old paper, dust and jazz floating through the air, soft trumpet music from the speakers echoing gently everywhere. You flip slowly through vinyl covers while rain taps softly on the glass. Midnight city lights outside the window flickered like fading photographs. Then suddenly between the records, a tiny folded paper slipped free, a handwritten letter hidden quietly like a forgotten memory. Love letter left inside the vinyl, words sleeping for all these years, faded ink beneath warm yellow lights, still carrying somebody's tears. Smiled while reading the old message, soft laughter hiding in your voice, and somehow that stranger's lonely story made this night feel even more beautiful. Tokyo jazz bars after rainfall, Seoul alleys glowing midnight blue. The whole city felt nostalgic, standing quietly beside you. You asked me if someone wrote you a love letter, what would you want it to say? But honestly, at that exact moment, just hearing your voice felt enough. The vinyl crackled softly spinning, warm piano drifting through the dark, and every small unfinished silence left another note inside my heart. A love letter left inside the vinyl, just waits quietly. The shop owner dimmed the light slowly, preparing to close another night. But neither of us wanted to leave the warmth of that little world behind. The city finally grew quiet after a night that passed too fast. Only the soft sound of vinyl spinning remained inside the dark at last. Warm lamplight across the room, your silhouette beside the window, half-finished coffee on the table, and sleepy jazz playing low. The last song before sunrise felt softer than goodbye, like the whole world was holding still before the morning sky. You leaned your head against my shoulder, listening without saying much, and somehow every tiny heartbeat felt louder than the trumpet brush. Tokyo dawn beyond apartment lights, so rooftops turning pale blue. The night slowly slipping away, while I stayed awake beside you. Outside, the first train started moving, cold air drifting through the blinds. But inside our little room, time still floated softly behind. The record crackled between melodies, like old memories waking slowly. And every unfinished silence wrapped gently around me. The last song before sunrise still echoing through the room. Two lonely hearts staying awake, trying to delay the morning too soon. You smiled with tired, sleepy eyes, while soft piano filled the air. And suddenly the ordinary moment became something rare. Because maybe love is simply this, not fireworks or dramatic scenes, just someone staying beside you quietly while the world fades into dreams. And when the final note disappeared, morning light touched your face slowly. But even after silence arrived, the music still remained between us. The city lights were getting quieter as midnight slowly disappeared. Rain traces drying on the windows while the final song came near. You leaned back against the seat softly, eyes half closed from the longest night. And somehow the silence between tracks felt heavier than goodbye. When the playlist finally ends, will this night disappear too? Will the morning take these feelings the way dawn steals neon blue? Oh, jazz melody through tangled earphone wires slow. Every song carried little memories we didn't want to let go. Tokyo taxis crossing bridges, Seoul apartment lights fading dim. The whole world looked half asleep, like a quiet unfinished film. You smiled during the last chorus, like you already understood that some nights become beautiful because they never last as long as they should. The screen showed only one track remaining, soft letters glowing in the dark, and suddenly my chest felt smaller, like music was leaving my heart. When the playlist finally ends, please stay a little longer here. Even if the city wakes soon, even if morning slowly appears, your fingers brushed mine quietly while the final piano echoed low, and somehow that tiny moment felt too precious to let go. No dramatic ending scene arrives, no perfect words beneath the sky, just two tired hearts listening quietly as the final melody faded into night. The playlist ended quietly. No more songs inside our ears, only the distant sound of traffic and the cool midnight atmosphere. You removed one side of the earphone slowly, while sleepy city lights blurred blue. But somehow the silence afterward still sounded full because of you. Still walking beside you after the music ends, like the night itself doesn't want us to separate yet. Empty streets beneath the station bridge, rainwater shining silver white, vending machines glowing softly against the fading edge of night. Tokyo mornings almost waking, Seoul skies turning pale gray, the world preparing for another day, while we kept drifting the other way. No melodies left to guide us, no lyrics left to hide inside, only quiet footsteps together and emotions we couldn't describe. You smiled without saying anything, hands hidden deep inside your coat, and somehow that tiny moment felt warmer than every love note. Still walking beside you through sleepy neon air, even without music playing, romance somehow stayed there. A taxi passed us slowly, morning wind moved through your hair, and suddenly I realized I no longer cared where we oceans above. Maybe it's simply choosing to keep walking together after the music stops. The sky slowly brightened behind us, birds beginning to wake somewhere far. But even when the city became morning, the night still remained inside my heart. Still walking beside you after the music ends, holding on to one quiet feeling I never wanted to